Does the person you are with encourage you to read? You have to ask, what does he bring for me? Roses or books? If someone has a stake in making you better, that person will push you towards books. Books are what we all need.
Namaskar Acharya ji, this is Akshay Saxena from PhD Scholar, Mechanical Engineering Department at IIT-Patna. I am privileged to meeting you once again. And my question is that today, all over the world, we are trying to develop new technologies and we are moving ahead. And if technology is a boon, why mental distress and mental health problems are increasing day by day? Aren't we at peace when we have limited resources?
No, it's not about how much one has, it's about how one is. So, irrespective of the amount of stuff in your hands, the mind can continue to be at unease. Science and technology, they can at most give you a lot of objects to play with, to consume, to explore, but they cannot tell you who you are and therefore what to do with those objects. You have something in front of you. Do you know its utility in your inner scheme of things? And if you do not know its utility, then how will it give you that inner thing that is at the focus of your question? You're talking of mental peace, are you not? So, you're talking of mental peace and you're talking about the abundance of objects that science and technology have given us. Tell me, when do we bother to figure out how a particular object would give us peace? There is neither a relationship nor is there an attempt to see whether there is a relationship. So, if you would ask, has science given you a lengthier lifespan? The answer is yes, because that's what science, medical science aims at. You could ask, has technology given you ease in communication, in transport? The answer again is yes, because that's the purpose for which you designed your vehicles, your aircrafts, your entire telecom industry. You wanted to communicate and you wanted to move. So, the thing is serving its purpose, and the thing given by technology cannot exceed its purpose. Is there anything that you have ever designed for the sake of peace? Go into it. There is hardly anything there. Things have their purposes, and the purposes are all material, and that is all right. There is something with a material purpose. But then, if the thing by definition has been designed to serve a material purpose, why are you expecting that thing to provide inner peace to you? Why are you placing the burden of this additional expectation on that thing? There is the car. The car is meant to take you from point A to B. And that's okay. The car does that. Now you start saying, oh, I have cars, but I don't have peace. But then the car never promised you peace. The car promised you transport. Hmm? So the fault lies in the one who is seeking something absurd, something impossible from products of technology. You do not have peace and you go and buy a new mobile phone. How will that help? The mobile phone, neither in its ad nor in its brochure, ever said that it is going to provide peace to you. Though, from a marketing perspective, they can try to hint at those things. They may say you will have a peaceful experience with this new product. All that is okay, but you must know very well as a conscious buyer that a material product is meant to serve only material needs, not subtle inner needs. But those inner needs remain. And we have just said that those inner needs cannot be met by outer products or services, because those outer things are, first of all, not designed to serve the inner need. What to do with the inner need then? Then you have to realize that it is a special need. The inner dimension is a special and a separate one, and it requires a special treatment. First of all, it requires attention. If you do not even attend to it, if you do not even acknowledge that there is restlessness within, that there is a hollow in the heart waiting to be filled, how will you ever address it? If there is no acknowledgement of sickness, how can the treatment even begin? Are you getting it? So, if you go into the assumption behind your question, the assumption is that outer prosperity can bring inner peace, right? That is the assumption. But then that assumption is just invalid. And you must ask, where is that assumption coming from? Am I saying that outer prosperity is of no use? No, I'm not at all saying that. I'm saying outer prosperity is of outer use. Everything serves the purpose it is created for. The shoe cannot substitute for your specs, or can it? Footwear cannot become eyewear, and socks cannot substitute for hats. Even in the outer world, things have their specific purposes, right? Then how do you presume that a thing meant to fulfill an outer need will simply plug in the inner hole? That cannot happen, right? Obviously that cannot happen. The outer thing is useful. Nobody denies that. We would not be having this conversation. But for sharp, state-of-the-art technology, there is this laptop, there is a beautiful software. I have these pieces of hardware in front of me. I'm sure you too have something in front of you. And there is a telecom network aided by satellites right up in the space. And all that is coming together to enable us to have this conversation, which is all very good, very nice. I respect science, and I find it amazing to look at the products of technology. All that is wonderful, but let's not have misplaced expectations. Laptop cannot become wisdom just automatically. A laptop is a beautiful thing, a product of sharp intellect. But the deficiency of wisdom within cannot be treated by ownership of a laptop without. You're carrying a laptop bag in your hands. I'm saying something very commonsensical, but it needs to be said because we often forget it.
Right.
The laptop bag in your hands cannot compensate for the lack of wisdom in your mind, or can it?
I got it. It will not.
Yeah, a great missile system, intercontinental ballistic missile, 20,000 kilometers range, cannot compensate for lack of love or compassion, or can it? Here the contrast is just too stark. So take something more subtle. The greatest of technologically enabled gifts offered to a loved one cannot substitute for the absence of real love in the mind, can they? So you take a Mercedes, or you take a high-tech home, and you offer these things to someone you say you love. All that is okay, but they cannot really by themselves become love.
Acharji, I got to what you said, but the thing is, on the same time, we are not looking peace on the materialistic things.
We are not.
If we are not looking for peace from these materialistic things, but somehow they just disturb our day-to-day life also. It how although it helps our life, it is our life, but somehow we are not able to find the time to connect ourselves. We are just kind of busy in, like, for example, in social media, or we are just busy in lot of things because of this technology itself, and we are not able to connect the people nearby us, but we are able to connect with the world.
You see, social media is a tool. It depends on you what you use it for, right? You can use social media for absolutely great purposes. There is just so much knowledge available on YouTube. The internet has provided you access to information that would have otherwise taken you a lot of effort, time, even money to obtain, right? So it's upon you how you use it. There is a 90% chance you first met me on social media.
Right.
Is that not so?
I
So,
actually
so,
met you offline first time, but yeah, it is a time, it is a chance that we meet people first time online.
right, right. Wonderful. In general, people see me first on social media, right? So it depends on you what you want to use the thing for. It's an opportunity. You make good use of it. So, and the algorithms are such that they keep serving to you stuff that you have been curious about. Once you display to them what is it that you like to watch or read or listen to, That's the thing that will be served to you again and again. And that thing will become your little universe on social media. Whenever you will go to a YouTube or an Instagram, things from that same universe will again and again come to you, and you'll feel as if that's the only content that's available on social media. No, that's not the only content that's available. That's the content that's being selectively served to you, because the algorithm thinks that that is the content that you prefer to consume. So it's a matter of choice. If I'm reading your question rightly, if there's something else you're pointing at, kindly clarify.
No, it's the same thing what you just said, and I got it that how we are using the technology is important rather how it is. Only thing is, it's really hard in today's world to keep yourself disengaged or use it in the right way.
That's right.
But yeah, we should.
But if you count the blessings of technology, they are numerous. Uh, 20 years back, had I said, please go and read a few Zen koans, would have been difficult for you to obtain a good book. Today, you can get that done within an hour. If I tell that to you at this moment, you will be back before this session ends, having done the required reading, because it's all available on Google. Just search and you get those koans and you read them. If I ask you to, let's say, read a few verses from the Ashtavakra Gita, now that's not a very popular document. If you want to obtain a hard copy, that won't be so easy. If I ask you to read a few Sufi stories, again that won't be tremendously easy if technology does not assist you. So technology is a great enabler. It's just that growth in technology must not outpace the growth in wisdom, because technology is not just a tool, it's a tremendous tool. It can become an overpowering tool. We are anyway so short of wisdom, and technology can become so humongous, it can totally overwhelm our wisdom, our little wisdom. It's anyway so small, no? So as technology is growing, the onus is on us to ensure that wisdom is growing at a proportionate pace. Otherwise, we'll be like very little beings with very little wisdom, animals, monkish people, with access to very powerful technology, and then that power will be unleashed only towards destruction of the world and destruction of the self. If I read you rightly, that's something you wanted to point at.
So, however, this knowledge what we are gathering from social media, Google, in a span of time, but it also just kind of restricting us or to do actual work because we start scrolling, finding the
Right,
answers
right,
and
right.
curiosity. So it we are just going into the depth of the sea with a abundance of knowledge.
Correct. So I'll begin with addressing one part of your query that I left unaddressed, which was that because of social media we are talking to the entire world but ignoring the people around us. You see, that too can be a boon or a bane. It totally depends. Why do you want to be confined to the people around you, and what's so great about the people around you that you want to be continuously engaged with them? Greatness does not reside selectively in your locality, or does it? And think of the people who have no access to any kind of technologically enabled communication, and therefore they are compulsively restricted to the people around them. Think of their misfortune, please. Think of some backward village in some remote area in eastern UP or in Bihar or Odisha or somewhere that's still not very well connected to the rest of the world. I hope there are no more any such areas. And then think of a person born there, let's say a little girl. And she hardly has anybody to look up to. All around her are people belonging to that little village with regressive mindsets, very little knowledge, orthodox attitudes. Now in this scenario, if she gets hold of a mobile phone, then that mobile phone is actually her wings. She gets to know of an entire universe beyond her little hamlet. Are you getting it?
Right.
So think of it. Why is it important that, let's say you are staying in the IIT hostel? Why is it necessary that you keep restricted to your wing mates, your floor mates, your hostel mates? Very bluntly put, is that not tribal? Is that not parochial? I'll limit myself to the 5 people around me because that's my tribe, that's my family, that's my kunba, that's my group. Why must one not have a broader consciousness? Why must relationships be defined by locality and geography and physical proximity? If I find a beautiful person in Mexico, in Russia, in Hungary, in Finland, in Brazil, in Africa, in Japan, anywhere in the world, why must I not connect to her? Why must greatness be circumscribed by something as trivial as space? Is that not Vedanta? Not to give too much importance to space and time? So when it comes to space, you must have the freedom to connect beyond your physical frontiers. And when it comes to time, you must have the freedom to connect beyond your current age, your own epoch. Why must I not be able to connect to somebody from the 13th century, the 5th century? Because if you say that you want to connect only to those who are around you, then the dead are obviously not around you. And the greats that we know of are unfortunately mostly all dead. How will you connect to them if you want to connect only to your own village folk? Now by this, in no way do I mean that you should disregard your family members or your community members. No, I don't mean that. But I am pointing at the excessive importance that we give to those who are related to us by way of blood or coincidence. Because you don't choose your neighbor. It's a coincidence who resides in your neighborhood. You don't choose your relatives. But it is cited as one of the great faults of this age, one of the great, evils of this age, that people don't talk to their neighbors. The question is, why must one be talking to his neighbor? Now this would sound atrocious to many, but please do listen. Why must you talk to your neighbor? The neighbor is just a coincidence. Why must that coincidence be given additional importance? I will talk to someone I choose. The ones I relate to must come to me by conscious choice, not just by mere coincidence. Somebody happens to be my neighbor, and that's okay. That does not mean that I'm going to blast him away or insult him or something. No. You stay at your place, I stay at my place. Love must not be situational. Do you agree?
I agree.
Right. So love has to emerge out of your consciousness, your chetana, not out of a thing like, that fellow happens to be my brother-in-law, therefore I have to be kind to him. Hell, that fellow has to be evaluated as a person, not as a relation. That fellow happens to be my nephew or niece or aunt or somebody, uncle. Therefore, that person has to be special to me. Why does that person have to be special to you? The special ones are special by dint of their merit, by dint of their deeds, their courage, their love, their compassion. That's what makes a person special, not his relationship to you. If you evaluate a person by his or her relationship to you, then you are simply being partial, prejudiced, parochial. There are two kinds of brothers, mind you: brothers of body and brothers of spirit. Brothers of body are all okay. Give them their due. Don't deprive them of what they deserve. But the real brothers are brothers of spirit. Always keep that in mind. And the brothers of spirit are often brothers not from the same mother.
So I clearly found my answers for most of the things. The only thing I'm still curious to know the part that there are a lot of wisdom around on the internet, but we lost in this ocean and because of curiosity. So
Yes. So, therefore, we said we are in a sensitive period where the growth of inner wisdom must keep pace with the growth of outer technology. So, the role of spiritual development or spiritual education has become even more important in today's age. And that's why I repeatedly keep emphasizing that this thing, spiritual education, which is nothing but knowledge of the self, uh, must find its place in school and college curricula.
thank you, Acharya, for listening me patiently and answering my queries.
I'm glad.
Am I audible to you, sir?
Yes.
Good evening, sir. Like you said, sir, Akshay has pointed out that there is a technology and why we are not getting the mental peace. And you, sir, illuminated it very well, that I'm also relating to it. Sir, there is some minor thing that I have a doubt. Like uh, in the we talk about our society in previous generations, like they used to have a mental peace with the work they do, the hard work they do, but with the ease of technology, we are like getting a little bit lazy, and there is also a mental pressure besides the physical one. So sir, how to manage those things together in a way so we can work wonderfully with the technology?
Again, you see, uh, I think I understand your question, and I respect the sentiment. But I think it's again founded on an assumption. The assumption is that the bygone ages uh, were better off in terms of inner peace. Now, how do you know that? How do you know that it's it's prosperity and technology that has disrupted mental peace? I do not quite agree that people in the previous generations were better off in terms of inner peace. Let me quote a few instances. And by quoting these, I do not mean to say that we are better off today when it comes to inner wisdom or peace. It's just that I feel that the myth of a glorious past in terms of inner peace and wisdom, etc., needs to be challenged a little. Okay, think of a few things. Were we not more superstitious in the past?
Yes.
If we were more superstitious, would we have been more peaceful or less peaceful? Just think of it. There's no need to answer me quickly, because even I do not have fact-based answers. I'm just lobbing a few random questions. Were we not more communal in the past? Or at least as communal as we are today? Think of the 1947 partition. Think of just the number of millions of people who were killed, and then the additional millions who were rendered homeless and rootless and jobless and moneyless. Did we really, as humanity, have a golden past? Think of all the great massacres that have happened. Are they happening today in the last 20, 30 years? Or were they all in the past? Can somebody like Hitler today do what the German one did some 70, 80 years back? The situations today are such that it's difficult for a new Hitler to rise, is it not? Huh? Think of all the genocides and instances of ethnic cleansing. Are they even possible today? They are possible, but not quite probable. Think of a Nader Shah, think of a Tamur Lang, think of a Pol Pot. Today, how many surviving and thriving dictatorships do you have in the world? Hardly a few. And just a couple of centuries back, probably everywhere you had dictatorships. Democracy was a new concept. Am I right? Even after the Second World War, you think of Russia, you think of China, you think of the entire Second World. You think of the number of deaths caused by Stalin or Mao. Were the dying at peace? Those who were being executed either through the bullet or through starvation, as in China, were they really at peace? So why do we try to attribute peace to some kind of imaginary golden past? Obviously, the present has its problems, and I keep calling out the present for its attitudes and its problems and all the destruction it has wrought upon us. So I'm not trying to say that the present is the golden period of humanity. Far from that, far from that. We are very close to annihilation. I keep talking of the climate crisis and the mass extinction and all those things. But equally, I do not want to support the idea that we were somehow better off in the past in the inner sense. I don't want to support that idea. So we have been animals in the past and we are animals even today, right?
Since we are human.
That humanness is yet to develop. We are human only in a very peripheral way. Internally, we are still governed by our animalistic instincts. And that's the reason behind all our problems in the past and all our problems today as well. Right? In between, we do have periods of brilliant reforms and renaissance. Happens everywhere. A Gautam Buddha comes over, a Saint Kabir shows up. And then you say, wow, we are improving. Such a recovery, such a brilliant renaissance. But then more or less, the overriding theme is of darkness. Darkness that needs to be continuously challenged through wisdom, through inner light.
Thank you.